Teaching assistants are a vital tool for most classrooms. Despite duties differing dramatically from school to school, all teaching assistants are required to support learning activities and secure the class teacher.
The predominant role of a teaching assistant is to collaborate with the class teacher to uphold responsibilities and execute various daily tasks. These tasks include leading group activities, lead the creation and distribution of resources in classroom setup, pastoral support for pupils, and aiding behaviour management. Further to this, teaching assistants can further pupil support by offering one-to-one sessions in an attempt to enhance a child's reading and learning.
Interestingly, teaching assistants in the United Kingdom do not require any specific qualifications beyond GCSE level. Finland require all teaching assistants to obtain a university degree for employment to even be considered.
Nonetheless, the number of teaching assistants in the UK has more than trebled from 1997 to 2010, with at least 170,000 teaching assistants currently employed in the UK. The main reasons for this increase for such a short period of time is the increase in the number of SEN children, new initiatives being introduced in schools, changes in school budgets and implemented PPA time, as discussed within the 2009 DIS study.
It is widely recognised that teaching assistants can help lessen the stress and workload of their class teacher, as well as improved outcomes for the children. But is this really the case?
After analysing the EEF toolkit and how it considers the effectiveness of teaching assistants, we found that they substantially help to ease the pressure felt by teachers by minimising workload and ultimately reducing stress levels. Fraser and Meadows conducted a study in 2008 considering children's views on teaching assistants. One thing they found was that the children between the ages of 5 and 11 perceive the role of a teaching assistant to be of great value and consider their work in the classroom to be useful. We conducted a study to build upon the information we had established about teaching assistants. The anonymous questionnaire was designed for teachers, trainee teachers and teaching assistants so that we could receive a more accurate representation of the individual's thoughts and feelings about the topic. The survey asked a number of questions that could be drawn from experience, such as what their role is considered to be, how much time they spend with teachers discussing the plan or outcome of the lesson, and whether the majority of their time is spent dealing with behavioural issues or low-retaining students. Conclusively, 96% of those who answered agreed that teaching assistants reduce the individual's workload and minimise the pressure of cooperating teachers. Ultimately, we were able to ascertain that having another supervising adult means disruptions can be quickly and effectively handled so the teacher can maintain the flow of the instruction and focus on maximising the learning experience within the classroom. Another study by Slavin, Madden, Davis and Lake 2009 concluded that teaching assistants can also have beneficial effects on pupil attainment. Our survey exposed that 70% of participants agreed that lessons could not be delivered as effectively without the presence of a teaching assistant, proving them to be a valuable resource in the classroom.
However, without the need for a specific educational degree to become a teaching assistant in the UK, and with only 15% of the UK's teaching assistants being qualified at a higher level, it could be seen that it may cause significant problems and concerns for the quality of teaching that pupils receive. Butt and Lowe, 2011, found they given much more responsibility for the pupils, including the implementation of behavioural plans, providing personal care, tutoring individuals and completing individual assessments. One of the issues which many teachers face is children becoming very reliant on support staff. Ruby Davies, Blatchford, Webster, Kutsubu and Bassett conducted a study in 2010 to compare interactions in the classroom. They found that not only did teaching assistants often provide pupils with answers, they would also physically complete their work for them, evidently ceasing the child's development as they become lazy and reliant on this support. Teaching assistants are often left in the dark when it comes to planning and the methods to which they are expected to use. The EEF toolkit states that TAs are not adequately prepared for their role in the classroom and have little time for liaison with teachers. As discussed by Bennett, teaching assistants are often found to work closely with individual or groups of low-retaining children and those with special educational needs. This was highlighted in the survey that we conducted. A staggering 77% of respondents argue that they often or always see these particular clusters of children working with the teaching assistants, whereas an astonishing 4% said the same for high-attaining children. Webster, Blatchford and Russell say that if these children are working on different tasks, they're spending less time working on the mainstream curriculum, and therefore their progress is sure to differ from their peers. Alongside this, a recent scholar, Bennett, 2017, states that students who received more support from TAs engaged less with a qualified teacher and made significantly less academic progress than similar students who had received less TA support.
We have developed some advice and tips which could increase the effect of having a teaching assistant in the classroom. The points we have considered have been devised and supported by the research executed by McVitie 2005 and Blanchford, Russell and Webster 2012.
Firstly, it is essential that both the class teacher and the assistant make time to meet to share lesson plans. This will ensure that the teaching assistant is fully aware of what is expected from the children, which will be supported by the objectives of the lesson.
In addition to this, teachers should ensure that the teaching assistant understands the concept of the lesson so they are able to teach them to the children and prevent any misconceptions from being developed.
Try to avoid the common error of them working more frequently with the low-retaining groups or SEN students. These particular group of students require quality-informed teaching, thus spending too much time with the teaching assistant may hinder their attainment targets. All children should receive adequate learning time with the teacher, as well as independent support from the teaching assistants.
Therefore, we would simply advise not spoon-feeding the children the answers or completing the work for them, as this can prevent their development and understanding.
A final piece of advice we think would be useful to increase the effectiveness of teaching assistants is that they receive adequate training for their role in the classroom. This will ensure that they have the skills and knowledge required to successfully fulfil their expected duties they have as a teaching assistant.
The advice we have provided is also being delivered through some responses to our survey.
One commented that it is vital for teaching assistants to be a part of the planning process.
Another suggested that teaching assistants receive more training.
A further participant proposed that teaching assistants should work with all children, not just the lower attaining and those with SEN. Ultimately, we have used these responses to deliver some reasonable and practical advice in an attempt to portray how teaching assistants can have more of an impact on the class that they assist.